This is Bob Romanek, the Grim Reaper of radio, and you're listening to the all-new KQQZ 1190 AM, simulcasting on KZQZ 1430 AM. Insane broadcasting, people. We're all insane. Let's be politically insane. That politically correct crap's gotta go. America's by-state voice of freedom, Radical Radio, and we are, as always, proud, very, very proud to be the Patriot. Once again, people, we're having a round table with all of our candidates. Now, we've asked all of our opposition to please come by and be transparent to you good people. Do you notice for 5 years, Mark Kern, I've offered to give him $10,000, and I'd match the $10,000, and I would give $10,000 to the hungry, to the needy, to the poor, which I've done anyway. These no good son of a bitches will not come on. That's disrespecting you, the people that put them in office. You're their bosses. And they're going to remain silent? Tomorrow you can change that, people. We're not going to be silent anymore. The silent majority is going to become the vocal majority, because we're going to speak, and we're going to speak loud and strong tomorrow and throw this St. Clair County Democratic culture of corruption after 50 years, throw their asses out of office. With me, Mr. Dallas Cook, he's a Belleville City Clerk, and you're the people's candidate for St. Clair County Circuit Clerk. Dallas, the floor is yours.
Hey, Bob, thanks for having me on again.
You're welcome.
You know, why would I ever turn down an opportunity to speak to the people that I wish to serve? You know, that's not going to ever happen with me. I love getting a chance to talk to the people that I wish to represent, that I wish to fight for. And, you know, today we're sitting here the day before, you know, the most important election of definitely of my lifetime, maybe of everyone who's living right now. And I have great news. Here in St. Clair County, change is coming. We are going to win this election tomorrow, but we're not going to be able to do it without your help. You know, not only do you need to make sure that you get out and vote, you got to make sure everyone in your family votes, that all of your friends vote, your neighbors vote, and that every single person you run into, just ask them, hey, have you voted yet? If they haven't, help them out. Ask them if they need a ride. Do anything you can to get people to make their voice heard. Because it's real easy for all of us to sit around, you know, at a coffee house or have lunch and talk about how bad things really are. And we all know they are. We know we, the people, the taxpayers, we're getting screwed, we're getting laughed at, we're getting made fun of by these big special politicians. But we can put an end to that. There is a thing such as term limits here in St. Clair County. Term limits are when you go to vote. You go and vote, and you get those people out of here. We have been controlled by one party for over the last 40 years in St. Clair County, the Democratic Party and their culture of corruption, where they only think about one thing. Only one thing. How can they today enrich themselves and their friends? How can they gain more power? How can they gain more control? How can they stick it to you, the taxpayer, a little bit more? That's what they sit around and think about. They think about how they can raise the tax levy, how they can bring in new taxing districts, how they can give out more jobs so they can make sure to be reelected. And a lot of these people who are getting reelected, it's not even for that, you know, salary that they receive. It's for that power, for that control. It makes them feel like somebody. Mark Kern, a man who was handed by his parents millions and millions of dollars, hasn't worked a real day in his life. Not for anything. Why would he want to spend almost $1 million to re-elect himself to a $90,000 a year job? It's because, ladies and gentlemen, that man only has that. If he's not County Board Chairman Mark Kern, then who is he? He's some guy who his parents worked hard and took care of, who can just hang around and be a rich sloth. That's all he would be. So that's why it's so important to him. And I tell you what, let me tell you something about my dad. You see all those cook signs around town? Every single one of them he put up himself. Every single day over the last year, he has worked tirelessly in order to get his message out with no money. He didn't need it. He knew he didn't need it. Because for 15 hours a day, my dad's out there meeting people. He's out there helping people. He's out there putting his signs out, putting his message out, handing his flyers out. You know, that's what you do when you want to serve the people. You don't spend a bunch of money on TV making fun of your opponent or saying untrue things about them. That shouldn't work in America anymore. We're smarter than that. The voters are smarter than that. Mark Kern and his culture of corruption are going down. They're going down tomorrow. And you know why they're going down? Thanks to this radio show, thanks to Bob Romanek, the St. Clair County Freedom Coalition, all the candidates on this ticket, and you, the people of St. Clair County, the voters, who are going to get out this time. You're going to have your voice heard because you can't take it anymore. I can't take it anymore. And if you elect me as your next circuit clerk, I'm going to do a lot more than just fight for you. I will raise hell every time I see anything that is not correct, something that doesn't represent your best interest. Hey, I'm not in this for a political party. None of the other candidates on the Freedom Coalition ticket are in this for a political party. We are running as Republicans, but we owe nothing to the Republican Party. We're not looking to give jobs to people because they're Republicans or do things that are right for the Republican Party. We could care less. We're running for one reason, to represent everybody in St. Clair County equally. Whether you're a Republican or a Democrat independent, you come to that circuit clerk's office, you can expect one thing, to be treated fairly, kindly, and taken care of promptly. And that's what I'll expect out of my employees. And that'll be the only thing I expect out of them, for them to come to work, do their job, and treat people with respect. And they need to treat their coworkers with respect as well. And so that's something that I'm ready to clean up. I'm ready to make that a nice place to work, a nice place to work with. And it's a small part of making St. Clair County a better place, but it's going to have an impact. But what I want to stress to you is that the rest of this ticket on this Freedom Coalition, the impact that they can have on your daily lives, whether it's regarding your taxes or the way that people are treated, they're going to change things. You've got to get out there and you've got to vote the whole ticket. You've got to get out there and vote for the Freedom Coalition candidates on the Republican ticket. We're going to change things for you once and for all. And I absolutely cannot thank you enough for those who have already voted. But if you haven't voted yet, figure out what time you're going. Whether it's the most patriotic time you can possibly go, 6 o'clock in the morning before you go off for your hard day's work, or when you come back when you're tired and you don't want to, but you're going to do it anyway. You don't care if there's a line. That's not going to scare you away. You're going to do it because that's what you got to do for your kids, for the people that are going to come after you, because you're an American and your vote counts. It counts every time. And this year, you have a slate of candidates who are willing to fight for you. You have somebody to back. So we ask you to please back us and get out there and vote tomorrow. Thank you guys very much.
Mr. Dallas Cook, Belleville City Clerk, and you're the people's candidate for St. Clair County Circuit Clerk. This guy, you think I'm a fighter, this guy will rip your head off politically, of course, because he don't give a damn about politics. He gives a damn about people. That's what the St. Clair County Freedom Coalition is all about. Now with me, the prettiest person on our ticket, by far, and next to me and Roger and Dallas Cook and Gary Carnwell, she's beautiful inside and out. Your candidate, a great attorney, Laninya Cason. Your candidate for St. Clair County Circuit Judge. Laninya, nice having you. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Bob. Good morning to you and all of our listeners. I am running for Circuit Judge of the 20th Judicial Circuit. I'm running against a current sitting judge, Robert Lasheen, and I urge voters to get up and go vote. First of all, get up and go vote. Second of all, when you get up and go vote, vote for me. That's most important. My opponent decided to resign his post last spring because he did not think that he could get the required number of yes votes in order to keep his position as circuit judge. And for all of you voters who don't really understand how this process works or is a little confusing, when you run for circuit judge, you only have to run one time in a contested election. So you never have to have an opponent again. But every 6 years, your name is on the ballot for voters to retain you. You sometimes seen the questions on the ballot, do you want to retain or keep Joe Blow, whoever the circuit judge is, and it's a yes or no. And when you're running as a circuit judge for retention, you have to get 60% yes votes from the electorate. Well, my opponent did not think that he could get 60% yes votes because he did not think that he had the ability, he had the legal temperament after being on the bench for 18 years. He had the compassion and empathy for the citizens that is needed to be a circuit judge. So he decided to resign his position of 18 years so that he can only win by a majority. For 10%, he put his career on the line. He put the fact that he never comes to work. When I was a judge, I used to pass by his office, and it was always dark. And his clerk would say, well, he's working from home. I mean, that's what we're paying him to do, is work from home. Now, I don't know what he's doing, but it was rumored that he was betting on horses. And when his economic statement came out, it showed that that is what he does, is bet on horses. So I don't know if he's betting on horses during work time, but it certainly does appear to be that way. So he put all of that on the line just to retain his position. Now, he's been in government for 28 years. So I'm not quite sure what he's doing, because it sounds like it's political gamesmanship, greed, and self-gratification that my opponent is after. So I encourage all the voters to get up, get out, and vote for me. And I'm grateful, although people don't agree with how Bob Romanek says things, but I know that a lot of the citizens in East St. Louis are very grateful to have his voice, because these are the things that we have been wanting to say for years. We have been wanting to challenge the fact that we don't have any hospitals in East St. Louis. We don't have a grocery store, a decent grocery store in East St. Louis. We don't have businesses. We don't have a tax base in East St. Louis. The riverfront property is not owned by East St. Louis. The county, the federal, and the state government, along with Ciron Faust, owns the majority of the property in East St. Louis. Now, there are 27,000 people in East St. Louis, with about 7,000 of them being kids. So that's 20,000 adults. We have a 50% poverty rate in East St. Louis, and only 8% of the people that live in East St. Louis have a bachelor's degree or higher. So who is running the city? Who is making decisions for the residents of the city? Now, we have been hoodwinked and bamboozled for too long. Don't get mad at me because I pointed out. Don't hate. Participate. Congratulate. And stop trying to dominate the citizens of East St. Louis by strong-arming your way back into office after you've been there for 80-something years. Go home. The citizens need to honor your resignation by officially voting you out of office and hopefully out of town, because we are tired of it. So I thank Bob Romanek. He may have an unorthodox way of bringing information to you, but you know it's true. Everybody knows it's true. How in the world can people from outside of East St. Louis have differing views on the candidates that we're presented with in East St. Louis? Outside of East St. Louis, these Democrats can't even win their own precincts. But they expect these same candidates to come to East St. Louis and win. Don't use us. We're tired of being played. We're tired of it. So I am going to bring fairness, integrity, and some class to the bench. So there really is no other choice in this my judicial election race, but to vote for me. And I appreciate Bob, and I appreciate the residents for considering me, and God bless you all.
Miss Laninya Cason, proud member of the St. Clair County Freedom Coalition, and you're the people's candidate for St. Clair County Circuit Judge. I have to say, Laninya's going to be leaving us shortly, but we talked off the record, and she said, no matter, she says, Bob, I hope I get all the support, but she said, to be honest, no matter how the people vote, either for me or against me, I'll give everyone, she said, I'll give everyone fair, equal, and impartial treatment like we all deserve and should have as proud citizens of this great United States. And I think that speaks volumes of the fairness you're going to get when Laninya Cason is your judge and you go before her. She's not going to give a damn about color, not going to give a damn about party. She's going to give a damn about upholding this great Constitution that our proud military heroes fought and some died for, so I want to salute her for that. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to be with Mr. Gary Carnwell. He's the former mayor, the great mayor of Cahokia. He did great things in Cahokia, and he is your candidate for St. Clair County Auditor, and we'll be back right after this break.